Welcome to this week's episode of The Better Half. I'm Kyndra D. St. Aubin, and this is Katy Hartley. And we're going to take a look back at some of the things that have been going on this week.
That's right, Kyndra. Well, the Cardinals had a big win over the Panthers, 28-21 at the University of Phoenix Stadium this weekend. Lots going on the field. So what do you, from your perspective, Kyndra, best and worst that you saw from Sunday?
Well, the best that I saw was basically just the fact that they got a win. I know it sounds kind of lame, but the point is they didn't play that great. They didn't score every time they got in the end zone. They struggled inside the 20, and they even had that one fumble that missed exchange with Beanie Wells and Kevin Cobb. So the fact that they were still able to come away with a win at home in Week 1 against a Carolina Panthers team, which I think surprised a lot of people, is a good thing. And now my worst thing was definitely the secondary. I mean, they absolutely got torched as a whole. And I know everyone's talking about Patrick Peterson and the young guys and A.J. Jefferson, but even Kerry Rhodes, he looked a step slow to me. He looked a little confused. And then, of course, you have Adrian Wilson. I mean, he didn't play any preseason games, and I think it showed a little bit.
And I have to say, I was the most impressed with Kevin Cobb this weekend. I wasn't very high on him until the season started, but I liked what I saw out of this guy. He came out of the game with a passer rating of 130, no interceptions. I mean, I thought he looked really good the first time in a new offense like that. I think he did great.
I thought he did great, too. And, of course, he got a little overshadowed because of Cam Newton's performance.
Right, exactly.
And he and Patrick Peterson are both up for Rookie of the Week. So props to them as far as that's concerned.
And the worst for me was the ref calling the roughing the passer on Richard Marshall. That was horrible. And, of course, 2 plays later, Cam Newton hits Steve Smith in the end zone for, and brings Carolina up to 14-7 going into halftime. That was by far the worst thing that I saw in the game. The Cardinals secondary's up there, too.
Yeah. I think it was technically launching. I mean, it was funny because Wisenhunt yesterday, Coach Wisenhunt, he didn't even know what he called yesterday. But, Richard Marshall's 5'9", and Cam Newton's 6'5". So I don't know how you're going to tackle a guy unless you leave your feet.
Well, more football this weekend. Of course, college football, ASU and UofA in action. My beloved Wildcats losing.
How long are you going to call them your beloved? Are you going to jump off at all, or are you going to stick with them?
I still love them. But let's start with ASU getting a big win over Missouri this weekend.
It was a big win for them. I mean, I was impressed with the fact that they were able to win and didn't play that great. I know that their defense is supposed to be their kind of go-to thing, and it wasn't that hot. But the fact that they got a win against a tough Missouri opponent and they came out, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of Vontaze Burfict, though. I mean, were you impressed with him? I thought everything overall, he didn't look too hot.
I wasn't. And the main thing that I noticed, and Coach Erickson touched on this after the game, was the lack of tackling.
Yeah.
It was horrible
Which he says they normally are. That's one of their things they pride themselves on.
And they will have a very hard time against Illinois when they travel this weekend if they don't fix that.
Well, and Illinois isn't great, but it's still a Big Ten game on the road, and that's kind of a whole other animal in itself.
Absolutely. And then, of course, U of A hosting Stanford this weekend. I'm a little nervous, just a little nervous, but I want to see the Wildcats get a better running game. That's the thing that I'm most concerned about right now. I think they're last in the conference, averaging 58 yards or something like that a game. But I really, really want to see them improve that rushing game.
Well, I think they need to bounce back in this game. I mean, they got absolutely smoked in that last game, and I think I think they thought they weren't going to win, but I don't know that they thought they were going to get beat that badly, and now they're at home. I think you have to have a better showing, and hopefully they bounce back. Otherwise, it's going to be a long season.
Yeah, let's hope so. So, Kyndra, are you a good dancer?
Not at all. Not at all. You can ask anybody in my family that's seen the wedding video. I'm not a good dancer.
I'm not a good dancer either, but let's take a look at this kind of different end zone dance from this weekend.
I am absolutely loving the whole pirate sword thing, and it makes it better, obviously, that they're playing the Buccaneers. This was unbelievable. Then here's of Cam Newton, which he totally got flagged for, which I was so happy about. And then last but not least, of course, our very own Patrick Peterson for the Cardinals. Little high step strut in there, 10 yards short, and then peeked over his shoulder, there was a guy right on his tail.
Yeah, so we have a couple of issues here going on. So end zone dances, are you for them or against them?
I'm for them if you're winning and you're already in the end zone.
Okay.
Don't start it before you get there.
And I'm okay if you tie the game. If you tie the game with that touchdown, then I think it's okay. Or if you're winning, it's okay. But if you're losing or you're down by 14 or 21, what are you doing?
What are you doing? I also kind of like it if it's not super choreographed. You know, the whole I'm going to pull the marker out of my shoe and all that kind of crap. I don't like that. But I like the sword was probably one of the best things I've ever seen.
And now Patrick Peterson high-stepping 20 yards out, getting chased.
In his first kickoff return or punt return for a touchdown, and he's a rookie. I couldn't believe he didn't get yelled at, but no one thought it was a big deal. I think the fact that they just now if he had gotten caught, I think they would have had an issue with it.
That's true. Or if they had lost the game, maybe
exactly.
that too.
Everything's easier after a win.
If I was Coach Wisenhunt, I would have ripped his face mask off after the game. Well, that's it for us today, Kyndra. Thanks for joining us this week on The Better Half. We'll, of course, be back next week. Until then, you can follow her on Twitter at Kyndra620 and follow me at FunKaty620. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week on The Better Half.